Well, if there's one thing we can most certainly say about wargaming over the past couple of weeks and months is that they most certainly have been busy. We've had no shortage of devblogs concerning new ships, new features, balance changes, so forth and so on, and of course all the news and, well, events that are going on right now. So in today's video, we're looking at a devblog, well, two devblogs actually, and these two devblogs have some updates for us and some new information about some upcoming changes to the game. So, link to these two devblogs are down below. If you want to read along as I read aloud, I highly encourage you to check out those links down there. While you're down there, why don't you go ahead, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. That helps out tremendously so on the YouTube side of things, especially if you do enjoy these daily World of Warships videos. We put out a video on World of Warships pretty much every single day of the week. So if you want more of that, hit that subscribe button down there. Alright, so the first devblog we are going to go over, I'm not actually going to read too much from this word for word. We did get an update on the final variant of the new map. So if you guys recall, a few months ago, we voted for the biome of the new map, which wound up being the Torres Strait at dusk. And Wargaming initially released a version of the map that they're going to go into with testing. Testing has concluded, and they have refined it a little bit, not too much has changed. They've moved around a couple of islands here and there, increased the height of some others, but we have a more finished visually version to look at today. So the map should have popped up, and here's the updated visuals for the map. I must say they did manage to capture the look of the images that we were shown way back when we voted for the map. So good on them. It's nice seeing, you know, a map that's more modern, right? I know they've gone back and they've given quite a few of the other maps facelifts, but, you know, when you build one new from the ground up, it does most certainly look pretty dang good. If you go back, like, even just like 5 years ago, and look at what this game looked like then, and then now, they've done a very good job of keeping this game up to date with the graphics. So kudos to Wargaming. They do note that we will have another round of voting to select the name of this new map, and this is the final version that they're going into closed testing with. So this is very much probably the version of the map that we are going to get once it does get released. They might, you know, shift around one or two more things before it does come out, but you know what? Great new map, long overdue. Happy Wargaming is doing it. Alright, moving on to a more recent dev blog. This one is titled Closed Test, Ongoing Map Rebalances in Random Battles. Now, this one contains some updates, but also some new things that are pretty dang wild with one of the maps that they didn't even talk about balancing in the first round of devblogs that they posted about this topic. But anyway, DevBlog says, "Green captains, after the extensive closed test, the maps Okinawa and Mountain Range are heading for a second round of testing to polish the altered layouts and implement further changes. Additionally, we've introduced some new features to the map Ocean." Hey! Following volunteers' feedback, we've applied several adjustments. On Okinawa, which this is the new version of it, with most of the fundamental changes applied, we'll focus on fine-tuning the balance. Adjusted several islands to improve the fairness of the layout for both teams. The island in the C3 near Key Area A was moved further northward. The island in D3 at Key Area A was rotated slightly counterclockwise. The airfield island in the southeast corner was moved closer to the Key Area C. The spawn points for destroyers, cruisers, and battleships were moved closer to the center line for a quicker start of action, thank God. Large land masses between the spawn points have been changed to provide more maneuvering space. So let's see, is that all the change for this one? Yes, it is. So Okinawa, this one, as many of you agreed with me in the original devlog video for this topic, this one was in desperate need of rebalancing. It's a incredibly unbalanced map in its current state, and it is so campy. I mean, how many times have you, if you're like at the A spawn, you've gone in to the northern side of those islands, or you know, the northwestern side of those islands, and you're there fighting, and you look back, and like half of your team's still just sitting in the back and spawn. It sucked. It does currently suck as it is in the game right now. I'm very glad they are rebalancing this one with those big old islands in the back, keeping players away from the spawns, and even literally moving up the spawns closer to the action. I just realized that suddenly my voice is starting to go away. That sucks. I just got over COVID, and man, it's the time of the year, right? But anyway, I'm overjoyed to see that most of the changes stayed intact with Okinawa. I thought the first round of changes were really good, and these fine-tuning changes are very much good in my mind as well. Alright, next up is the mountain range map. I mean, shoot. Again, name me a bigger offender of terrible maps besides mountain range. It's Tears of the Desert, right? But unfortunately, they haven't touched this one just yet. Alright, we will further amend the map to improve the gameplay dynamics. The southern island inside the key area 8 was changed to provide less cover and be equal to its northern neighbor. The western side of the map no longer pokes so far outside from the border. It leaves more room for maneuvering. The vertical centerline islands were changed to be more balanced between each other. They look like they darn near mirror each other at this point. So yeah, another round of small changes. I think, again, they did a pretty good job with the first round changes with mountain range. This looks to be much better with regards to the spawns and such. And again, some small changes here and there that I think are very much for the better. Alright, but what really surprised me in this dev blog is that now they're taking a look at Ocean.
Ocean! Ooh la man!
But Sealord, how could they possibly do anything with Ocean? It's ocean. It's large, water, wet. You know, the most historically accurate map in the game. But they're either cooking here or, well, let's just take a look at it. So, Ocean, this map is pretty straightforward as there are no land segments at all. While we don't plan to change this, we do want to provide players with several more interesting gameplay scenarios. Change the key areas layout, they are now slightly further apart for a more balanced approach. Added 3 new weather events that can drastically change team tactics. First one, a cyclone will begin to brew early after the start of the battle, and after some time the spotting range of all ships will be reduced to 15 kilometers. The cyclone will last until the battle's later stages, after which the spotting range will be restored to standard. So, that one doesn't seem too much more wild than normal. Obviously, the spotting range is only being decreased to 15 kilometers instead of 8 kilometers. So, like, I see what they're doing here, because Ocean, of course, if you get it, I think it has, like, a 1% drop rate in the matchmaker, so it's a very rare map. But if you do get it, it is a snipe fest pretty much. You pray that your destroyers have the balls to go forward and kind of contest the cap, but at the same time too, you hope that the enemy team doesn't have too many radar ships, because if the destroyers get spotted by the radar, they have literally nowhere to go except out of the radar range. And typically, of course, the other large ships are much further back than normal, because again, there's no island cover, so doesn't really encourage destroyers to get in there and do destroyer things. So, yeah, at least a very campy experience. So, having a 15-kilometer cyclone, it takes the spotting range down a little bit, and 15 kilometers by higher tier standards, that's pretty dang close. So, that's an interesting one, but pretty chill compared to the other two. Next up is 2 thunderstorm fronts. They will spawn at the start of the battle on opposite sides of the map. During the battle, the thunderstorms will travel across the map. The effects of the thunderstorm fronts are the usual ones. Detectability range by sea is reduced by 10%. Spotting range is reduced to 30 kilometers. Ship's detectability range increases after firing guns, is reduced to 7 seconds, and maximum shell dispersion is increased by 30%. So, this is pretty wild. You've got 2 storms brewing at the same time, traveling across the map. That one seems pretty crazy.
Full bore and into the abyss! Are you mad? You afraid to get wet?
I get what they're going for here, because obviously this will keep the ships in the middle, you know, more hidden, and if you do shoot at them, your dispersion is going to be much worse because, well, 30% less dispersion, so you got to get closer to really get good consistent hits on target. So, yeah, I see what they're doing here, and I think that would be pretty wild, because obviously, unlike the cyclone where it affects the whole map, the thunderstorm front only affects where it's at, and they're look like they're bouncing around like a game of Pong here on the mini map. That could be quite interesting. Now, the last one is pretty wild, but not as wild as the previous one. They have a single thunderstorm front that will spawn at the start of the battle and expand from the center of the map. It will cover the entire map after some time and will last until the end of battle. The effects of the thunderstorm are as described above, albeit with slightly different visuals. So they went ahead and did entirely new visuals for this thunderstorm front, so that's interesting. So the entire map will be covered. I wonder for how long. they don't mention. So now it's like, even if you're sitting outside of where the thunderstorm fronts would be in the previous iteration of these weather events, you're still eventually going to get sucked into it. So yet again, your dispersion is going to be terrible, detection is going to be a little bit lower, so you need to get into the action to really, be effective. So the big question is, will this work? Will this convince players to get in there, get into more close range engagements on Ocean? I think these are great efforts by Wargaming, but the problem is people are still going to play how they want to play no matter what. I mean, look at what happened with Airship Escort. It's a mode that's designed to be very close quarters. It's designed to brawl for, more than medium range ships to really shine. So obviously players like myself love Airship Escort. And, well, Wargaming thought it was ready. They put it into the random battles rotation, and people flipped their crap. Because, well, there's one mode now that's more close range focused. I don't know when it's going to pop up, so I can't take my super meta snipey ship and, be a god in that mode anymore. So, they pulled it because those people complained that they, didn't want to snipe in Airship Escort mode, and now it comes back every now and then as a temporary battle type. And yet, if you go into Airship Escort when it's back as a temporary battle type, what do you have people doing? That's right, sniping. Even though they have to go and select the mode, they still go with their Slavas, their Yammies, their Vermonts, and they send to the back of the map and they snipe because that's what they want to do. Even in brawls, there's plenty of times that we've all ran across players in brawls that aren't brawling. They're sitting in the back and sniping. In the mode called brawls. Granted, in those modes, there's nothing like what they're toying around here with Ocean, where there's some type of event in game that alters the parameters of your ship, that makes it more conducive to getting in there and getting in the other guy's face. So maybe with that, it will fix it. I do like that they're trying to do something with Ocean to make it a little bit more bearable when it does come up. Granted, once again, this is a map that has a drop rate of around 1%, I do believe. So it's not a overly common map to get. So don't expect any background footage for a random match in Ocean, because I'm definitely not going to get it when I actually want to get it now. But I do like that they're trying to do something about it. They do note here at the end that Repulse, they're making some more changes to it just yet, but it's not going to be part of this round of testing. They're looking at adding it into ranked and clan battles, and they did some pretty big changes with the caps in that map, but it's not going forward at this time with this round of testing. So guys, that is it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about these changes to these maps, and especially Ocean. Let me know what you guys think about that. Hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday, wonderful rest of your week. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.